Alrighty, so hello everybody. Welcome to a very different video today. We're going to be going over something that I have done a lot of in my free time, which is some RNG manipulation here in Pokemon Ruby. But I want to cover something that I didn't really see any guides on myself, hence why I figured I would cover it, since nobody else really seems to have. In Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, you can get daily swarms, which will only activate in the post game, and it's like a 5% chance after you defeat any wild Pokemon that the following day you will get a swarm. And in Ruby and Sapphire, the swarms are for Surskit and Skitty. And then in Emerald, the swarms are for Skitty and the C-Dot family, so C-Dot and Nuzleaf. Those are, as I'm sure most people know, 1 and 2% encounters respectively. So the swarm will boost it up to a 50% encounter instead of just 1%, which is massive. And the only kind of tricky thing is where it is a daily mechanic, and RNG manipulation in Ruby Sapphire is easiest on a dead battery. You need to be able to, either have your battery die the very same day that the event kicks in, or have the ability to restart and kill your battery at will. Which the easiest way to do that I found, and the way that I think that I accidentally did this in the first place to even have the ability to make this video, is I'd backed up my save file off of my cartridge and opened it on MGBA. And on MGBA, I didn't have the dead battery setting turned on. So in that instance where I was playing my cartridge save file on an emulator with a live battery, I think the swarm had triggered already, but it just needed the clock functionality for it to be like, and now it is the following day, here is your swarm actually ready. But when I put it back onto my Game Boy, because I didn't interact with the swarm yet, it was just waiting for me to actually trigger the event. I don't think it goes off until you interact with the TV. And so by the time it was back on my Game Boy, the battery was dead again. Now the swarm won't go away, and I have the RNG capability of always starting on the same seed. Anywho, with all that rambling out of the way, I should probably explain a little bit of how RNG manipulation works for people that are looking at all these programs on my screen here and are like, what is any of this? So, for anybody that does not know what RNG manipulation is or how it works at all, I'm going to give kind of like a bare bones explanation. If you want someone who actually knows what they're talking about, like flawlessly, go check out I'm a Blisy. Their channel is like a RNG newcomers haven. Like, they will teach you everything you need to know. And then once you understand everything, you come back to this video, you'll look at all these programs, and you'll be like, this all makes sense now. But anywho, for those that don't know anything about what we're doing, we have 2 programs going on that we need to help us out. But before we even get to those in-game, there's a few things that you're going to need as well. The most important thing is a free slot in the party is very, very handy. Something with sweet scent is necessary. And then some very helpful things that you might want but aren't 100% required are a few rare candies, not necessarily 32, that I just have a bunch of spare, and a few Master Balls are not a bad idea either. And then obviously any Pokeball that you want to catch your shiny in. But if you have some spare Master Balls that you maybe cloned in Emerald or whatever, or Fire Red, Leaf Green, they have a pretty easy item cloning glitch as well. But yeah, if you have some spare Master Balls, definitely want some of those. You probably won't actually end up like losing any of them. So even if you only have the one, don't be afraid to use it because you're not gonna lose it most likely unless you kind of mess up, and then in that case that's on you. So what you need to do is you need to go to the route that your swarm is on, obviously. So for me, that is this route here, 114. This route is a little annoying, mostly because of these two dweebs right here, that chick and this dude over here. Where they can spin and move, that is really annoying for us because that will add some interruptance that we don't like and are going to have to kind of hope we can be quick enough to not trigger. But once you have everything you need in game, you want to get into a piece of grass and save the game. So we're going to go ahead and save right here in this grass, and we have everything in game ready that we are going to need. Now out of game, you're going to need two programs. We've got PokeFinder, which is this black program that I have multiple windows open of. This allows you to track down where the shiny Pokemon are, and not just shiny Pokemon as well, any Pokemon that you want. It will, if you tell it your trainer ID and secret ID. Secret ID is only if you want a shiny. So if you don't want a shiny, you don't need to find your secret ID. I'm not really going to go over how to get the secret ID here today, but it's it can be a little tricky. Your two easiest ways to go about finding your secret ID are to RNG manipulate it at the very start of a save file, so that way you just know what it is off rip, or to have caught a wild shiny, and then you can deduce the where that shiny was in the sequence, and knowing what it'll help you determine what your secret ID is. So we're not going to go over that here today. But if you know, you're going to need to know your secret ID if you do want a shiny. But anywho, the other program we're going to need is Eon Timer. This is going to help us time our button presses, so that way we hit the buttons at the right time, which is obviously very important. That is all of what RNG manipulation really is hitting frame perfect button presses, so that way you are able to encounter a Pokemon in the exact right sequence, so that way you get what you want. This program tells you where it is, and then this program helps you time your button presses so that you get it at the right time. So in PokeFinder, you're first going to want to go to Wild. That's going to bring up this menu. Well, I've put in a bit more information, so it won't look like this right away, but we're going to want to go to the route, which for me is Route 114. You are also going to want to make a profile. So for me, we're using this one right here. So you want to put in the version. You just hit New Profile and fill in all the information. You need your version, your trainer ID, which this is just on your trainer card. This one is easy to find. Secret ID, as I mentioned, you need to determine. And then for Ruby and Sapphire, you need to say if it is a dead battery or not. And if it is a dead battery, this seed number will always be 5A0, which is what makes it so simple, because if your battery is live, the seed is determined randomly, and then it makes this very, very tricky, because then you need to find your seed before you can do anything else. These two we can kind of leave as is. Offset, we're going to set this to 267 because that is the delay that the sweet scent animation takes. And then we're going to click star/square in the shiny option. You could click either one of these two, but this one is the same. It just incorporates both of them. If you're going to be keeping the Pokemon in generation, or any generation earlier than 8, these all mean the exact same thing. All that this really changes is what the sparkle animation looks like in Sword and Shield. So if you're not sending it into Sword and Shield, it doesn't really matter. But if you are sending it into Sword and Shield, if you want one that specifically has square sparkles, you can go for that. If you want one that has star sparkles, you can go for that. If you are sending it there, but still don't care, you can just go for this one. But as a rule of thumb, just click star square. It'll show any shiny Pokemon, and then you click generate. And now this is what I get, because this is what my trainer ID and secret ID combo is. And this is where it gets a little bit more annoying, because there's no setting in Pokefinder for swarms. So what I had to do, because I did this manip last night to test to make sure it works, and then I decided today, you know what, I'm going to do a video on it so that way I can show off that it works and how it works. Sorry, needed a sip of my drink. So now we kind of just need to test different shiny frames and hope that one actually hits the swarm instead of what it should have been. The way that the swarm encounter works is it overwrites encounter slots with the new swarm Pokemon instead. And so for me, this encounter slot here got overwritten from Swablu to Surskit. But for you, it might not be the second one. It could be later. This number is almost certainly going to be different. But I'll show you. We'll do a demonstration. We're going to try to go for both Nuzleaf and, quote, Swablu here to show the difference. So we're going to go for this one first. We're going to take this 3375, and we're going to put that right here, 3375. And now we're going to click start, and this timer is going to start counting down. It is going to beep 6 times. After the first beep, I am going to start mentally counting from 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on the 6th beep, I'm going to restart my game. And you can do that by just hitting start select and A and B all at the same time, and that will go ahead and restart the game. So I'm going to hit start on this timer. I'm going to put 2 fingers on start and select. I'm going to put my thumb on the B, and I'm going to press down on A with my thumb as well on the 6th beep. So start, readying the other buttons, restart. Let's see. Camera focused? It's somewhat focused. And now we're going to open the menu immediately. As soon as we get into the game, you want to hit start ASAP. And that is because of those 2 NPCs that I mentioned earlier, that the one that turns and the one that walks. Because if they take any steps or turn at all, that is going to mess you up and is going to put you later than what you are trying to hit. So you want to open the menu instantly. And then you want to go to your Pokemon and you want to highlight on your Sweet Scent Mon. So I've made sure that it's the first Pokemon in my party, just so that way I can just click the first one. You don't need to make it the first one in your party, but I did for simplicity's sake. So, and then when this timer counts down, we're going to hit A to start the encounter. Almost certainly not going to get it on the first try. But let's see. Okay, so we got a Surskit. This is how you can tell that the swarm is actually working. But this is where it gets tricky, is because the Surskit encounters overwrite things, it makes it hard to determine where we've landed. So normally we would go to bag and we would catch this and we would try to calculate its IVs to see where in the sequence we hit instead. But because the Surskits don't line up perfectly with the regular encounter types, I'm just going to reset over this now and we're going to just try for something else. Or maybe I should catch this. I can't remember if this calibration is accurate or not, but we're just going to go again. We want to try to hit something that is a regular spawn of this route, so that way we can check where we've landed and make sure that it is somewhat close. Because if we're super far off, then we definitely need to calibrate. Alright, let's see. Which I'm not going to show every attempt, but I do want to show a few of them, so that way people that have no idea what's going on at all can see the process. But for the people that maybe do know what RNG manipulation is, I don't necessarily want to bore you with showing every single attempt. Luckily, I have some early shiny frames. Alright, so we want to hopefully hit something that isn't a Surskit, so that way we can check our spot a little better. Perfect. Okay, so we encountered a Swablu. So this is good. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and catch this Swablu. And this is where the Master Balls come in handy, because this way we don't need to worry about, like, it breaking out, or trying to whittle its health down, or status it or anything, because we're not going to keep the Swablu. We're going to reset over this anyway, so I'm going to get that Master Ball back. Alright, and now, I'm going to go over to the Swablu and open up the summary, and you're going to go ahead and click this IV calculator button, and that is going to bring up this window. I'm actually going to click this one. We're going to bring this up, well, no, I guess we'll do this first. So, we're going to go ahead and, on this nature, we're going to click Rash, because that's what its nature is. It's level 16, so that's what we're going to set this to right here. We're going to go over to this page, and we're going to set all of its stats. So 43 in HP, 18 attack, 24 defense, 23 special attack, 26 special defense, and 25 speed. Now I just want to show, once I click this Find IVs button, these stats over here in PokeFinder are going to change automatically. Oh, I forgot to say, we got to change the Pokemon button as well. We got to change this to Swablu. There we go, Swablu. Now, we won't have that issue of some of them being invalid. So now, this looks a lot better, and if we go ahead and untick this, and click Generate, we'll see we most likely hit this one. It's level 16, it's a female, that's what this one is as well. If we click Show Stats, we can see these stats all line up. This button will not be of any use if you hit a Surskit, because the Surskits won't show up here. The IVs will still somewhat line up, but the stats won't line up at all. This is because, obviously, Swablu and, say, Surskit have different base stats. So even though they have the same IVs, their actual stats are going to look different. But so we probably hit this one. So this is what we were aiming for, and this is what we hit. So that's like, what, 8 or so early? So we're going to go ahead and type in 336, I'm not saying that, into this frame hit, and we're going to click Update. And that's going to change the calibration. And now we're going to go ahead and just give it another try. I'm going to do this. We're going to get ready to reset. And there we go. And that is why the Master Balls are really, really handy, because, as I said, we're not keeping that Swablu. We just got that Master Ball back. We're back up to 5 Master Balls. Sorry that it's a little... And we want to open the menu immediately and go to Pokemon and wait on Sweet Scent. And so now, hopefully, we can actually hit what we're looking for. And in the few seconds that we're waiting for this to count down, I'm going to unclick all of these, and I'm going to change this back to that, just so I can see what we're looking at. And another thing we could do as well, while this is still going, is we could set this to, like, 3350, and click and undo that, and click that, and hold on. Okay. That was not perfect, I don't think. And I kind of didn't have everything lined up right. Okay, so we hit a C dot. So, what we can do is, even before we do anything else, is we can scroll down to right here. which is what we're looking for. This is our shiny, and we can see just these are all of the nearby frames, shiny or not. So we can see that a level 16 female C dot happens to be just one frame later than our shiny frame. So there is a good chance, even without catching this, that we just hit one frame late. And one frame late or early, usually like 2 to 3 frames, give or take either way, early or late, is so close that it's not really worth calibrating for. So I'm not even going to catch it. We're just going to go again. Because we're trying to hit a 1/60th of a second button press. That is such a close window that there is a lot of room for human error. Like, I just could have hit the button at the wrong time still. Like, and that's where RNG can get a little tedious and a little annoying, is you can have all the timers that you want to help you in the world. If your fingers are still a little slow, even with the timers, you're gonna not hit the right frame. So it definitely takes a lot of practice to get used to it. But it is definitely a lot easier than trying to just run around and hope and pray that you get the right thing. Alright, and here we go. And that is why I like to only... Here we go, actually. So, we found our shiny Nuzleaf. This is what we were looking for right here. We've hit the correct frame, and it's a shiny Nuzleaf. So if we go back to Star Square here, and we just look at all of the nearby things, it's still Nuzleaf. So, and this is, like, I know on camera now, I've only hit this once. This is the 4th time I've hit this exact Nuzleaf. I attempted this 3 times last night, just to kind of see if it was a permanent overwrite or a chance at an overwrite, and it seems the more times that I hit this same Nuzleaf and still not have a mistake is making me think that it is a permanent overwrite in encounter slot, where, because Feebas is not. Feebas is a, like, chance at that instead of the actual encounter slot on each encounter, so you, like, it works a little different. I'm not going to get too in-depth into Feebas right now, because that's not what this video is about, but I was curious to see if it worked like that, and it doesn't seem to, TLDR. So now we're going to go for this one instead, because this one I know is a Surskit, because I checked it last night. So we're going to go ahead and do... Oh, whoops. Got to type it correctly, or else we're not going to hit the right frame if we're not aiming for the right one. And I'm not going to bother catching this guy. I could if I want to. I'll probably catch him eventually. But, so we're going to go ahead and go for this one instead. So yeah, that's kind of where this one gets... Where this manip can get a little tricky is you need to check the different encounter slots to see which ones have been overwritten and which ones haven't, and that can get a little annoying and can potentially get a little tedious, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little annoying and you might get unlucky and not have any of your early encounter slots be overwritten. I'd say that's probably very unlikely. I'm really annoyed that this is my, like, earliest Zangoose. I'm probably gonna have to do a whole nother save file and, like, try to manip, like, go for a specific TID, SID combo that has, like, an early shiny Zangoose. Because this is just insane. Especially now that there's a chance that this is not even a Zangoose anymore, and I wait all this time, and it's a freaking, Surskit. And, like, this is my next closest one? Like, oh, that's just brutal. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this attempt. And there's a good chance that we don't need to calibrate too much anymore. Yeah. Oh, nope. This is a regular circuit. The camera is a little clear or unclear. So it's like I said, it's hard to check on a circuit. I'll show you just so that way everybody, like, you know what I mean. We'll go ahead and catch the circuit. Let's go ahead and start changing this now. Circuit, it's level 15. Is the like nature in IVs will overwrite or like will carry over. Let's see, mild, 41, 14, 13, 25, 1. Find IVs. Uncheck that. And what are we going for? It's like, we'll do 5,200. Oh yeah, so we're like super far off. Nothing fits there. And if we check any of these other methods as well, nothing also really lines up. I guess this? But it's not. But this got overwritten with a we must I guess we hit this one on Wild 4, but it got overwritten with the Surskit instead. Interesting, because there's nothing here, like there's no way we hit that. But so that's what I mean of sometimes when you hit a Surskit, it can be really, really tricky to determine where you actually landed. So that's why I usually don't bother to check on them. Just because where the actual species won't line up properly, it is really tricky to determine. And I guess technically there is a chance that someone else could get a Surskit encounter, like a regular shiny Surskit encounter early on enough. I just didn't on my save because it's a 2% encounter, like, or 1%, sorry, even, so it's not very likely, but it is possible. You could technically roll an early shiny Surskit frame with a different trainer ID and secret ID. Actually, here, we can go ahead and check, actually, because if I just do from 0 and do the first Surskit frame, this Surskit frame will be the same. Whoa. Never mind. This is the earliest Surskit frame, and technically, if you had a different secret ID, this could potentially be shiny. Like, any of these could be shiny with a different secret ID. Alright, let's see. See if we got it this time. There we go. That's a black Surskit. So, as you can see, the Swablu that was supposed to be there was overwritten with a Surskit instead. And now we have this. Actually, this is the second one, because the other Surskit that's already in my bag, or party, is one of these as well. What do I want to catch this in? I wish I had a spare luxury ball. Do I have a... I guess I could catch this one in Ultra Ball. Nope. Stun Spore it. There we go. But yeah, so that's pretty much how that manip works. You just gotta go through and check your different shiny frames. This is now the second time I've hit this one as well, so there's a pretty solid chance that it is a permanent rewrite and not just a temporary one. But yeah, we can go ahead and look at it. It's going to be exactly the same as this one above it because they are the exact same frame. Like, I might as well have cloned them. The only difference, obviously, is the Pokeball, because where they aren't literal clones, I should say, they are figurative clones. I was able to at least catch them in a different ball. So I guess this one I'll evolve into Masquerain, so the netball kind of matches a little bit better, and this one I'll keep as a Surskit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of random little video that I wouldn't normally do. Obviously, once you get your target, go ahead and save. That's probably a good idea. You don't want to lose the thing that you actually went for. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this kind of random, different kind of video. I don't know if I'll do any more, like, tutorials like this, because for so many other RNG related things that I just feel that there are better tutorials out there, and I don't want to just be like regurgitating the exact same thing that other people have said a million times. So that's why when I found something that seemingly not that many people have really covered or talked about, I figured I might as well jump on it, because might as well make a video before anybody else does. Who knows? Maybe this will be a video that actually does really well, since there aren't a whole lot of other alternatives. But yeah, hopefully you guys get as lucky as I do and have an early shiny frame get overwritten with the swarm encounter. As I mentioned, getting the swarm encounter onto a dead battery cartridge is honestly the hardest part of this entire manip, and is like way trickier than actually doing it. Like, once you have the swarm loaded, you're set to go, pretty much. So yeah, if you can get that part pulled off, you're probably in the clear. But anywho, as I mentioned, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and show me some love. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell, share with a friend, share this around if you know anybody that likes RNG manipulation, or even if you don't know anybody that likes RNG and you just know somebody that likes crazy things happening in Pokemon games, go ahead and send this to them so that way they can be like, what the hell is that? Yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.